against a pretty tough opponent.
You know, some teams, some players, I guess I should say, do get better the more that they play. I find, and this is a really weird personal thing, I find when I play for like 10 hours straight, going into the 11th hour, for some reason my brain turns off, but I get like mechanically way better. Is it turning on?
It's on, Michael.
Okay.
The game is on.
Yes. The Habana is the first ban here for Rise Nation. And Soniqs going to be answering back with a Thatcher. Okay. So Thatcher was something that Rise Nation really just failed to bring in the first match on Villa. It wasn't banned. Rise just didn't bring it. And now Soniqs are going to ban it. This is on Oregon, which means, is there going to be a Mute ban or a Kaid ban? Oh, not by them, obviously. I mean by Rise Nation. Mira banned out. That's what they do.
Who do you want to deal with least?
Between a Kaid and a Mute?
Keep in mind that Kaid and Mute have been ran by Avian on a number of maps so far today.
Both of them.
I mean, you're anticipating that they're going to be there.
Both of them are really good, honestly.
I'd take out the Kaid personally.
You think so? There it is.
And there you go. Yeah, I wouldn't want to deal with the Kaid. I feel like it's easier for teams to be able to take out the Mute jammers, albeit with an IQ, possibly with a Twitch as well if you need so.
It's true. I mean, they are much more exposed. On Oregon especially, you would want to, I guess, get rid of the guy. Also, this is really important. If you play Kaid and you put him in that corner, you know where the bomb, basement defense, you know where the bomb is in the corner of Laundry? If you play Kaid in that corner and play a tight angle onto the bottom of main stairs or Laundry stairs, it's actually harder for the attack, I find, to win that gunfight than it is to win a gunfight against a Mute playing the bottom of Laundry stairs. I'd say it's debatable for some people, but the big difference here is that it's harder to influence that Kaid with utility. A Mute playing at the bottom of main stairs, you can flash him, you can stun him, you can throw grenades at him, you know, after you clear out the ADS, of course. But a Kaid by the bomb in that Laundry corner to the right of Crazy right now, playing the tight angle, he can contest the main stairs or Laundry stairs really well while simultaneously tricking the drop down. Now, it takes a skilled player for sure, but I mean that shotgun DMR combination thing, definitely really good at that angle. Now, I agree with you. I think that was the right bet. Basement first. Woo! And look at there, there's a Mute.
I mean, look at what Soniqs bringing. Okay, they don't really have anything utility-wise to take out the Mute jammer, but
they didn't bring a Twitch. That's kind of curious.
No Twitch, no IQ. Even though they've been running an IQ. They haven't really been running a Twitch at all, but they've been running an IQ.
On Neptunes, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, IQ is no slouch when it comes to entry, so...
She does most things well.
Yeah. So, I mean...
Maybe it's going to be... Look, they're setting up for a construction... It could be construction tower, maybe. And they just don't care about the Mute jammers.
It'll be interesting to see where Avian goes as the Capitao, because you...
Is this...
Is Super by himself? Yeah, he is.
But the wall's unreinforced. Well, half of it is.
Half of the wall is unreinforced.
That is really odd. I'm sorry, I keep cutting you off. What are you trying to say?
No, that's okay. Don't worry. That's what we're here for. And he's going to entry. And he's going to get a good distraction, put down an air jab, and possibly let chaos ensue. Rise is now aware of the fact that it's a push from the back. And look at how all of Rise just moved to the bottom of main stairs, which could be very deliberate. They could be expecting a belated construction push that would be coming out for the Soniqs. And if that's the case, then somebody could possibly catch Rise Nation off guard on the main stairs. There's no Legion in play, so you don't have to worry about possibly stepping in a goo mine and alerting anybody to you crouch walking silently down those main stairs. It's really going to come down to wherever the pulse of Acid is, because he's going to be the first line of defense. You're going to need that cardiac sensor to be able to find where they're actually pushing from, which right now is not construction. They've all moved over to tower from the Soniqs side.
It's curious because we have a really distant defense of construction here from Rise. I'm guessing they're trying to bait construction, which is probably why Soniqs is not, well, taking that, or being rather baited by the defense. Good game sense, I suppose, from the Soniqs. That nade should have destroyed the shield, and yes, indeed, it did. If it wasn't it wasn't a lifeline. Lifeline starts coming out too to do some damage to the player they know to be playing at the end of that hallway. It's going to be Vandal in that position. Good use of that lifeline, chunking away at his HP, if nothing else. But still a whole minute for these attackers to execute. They have the flank watch well established in Attic. it will net a kill if Avian stays here long enough.
And you can tell that from the current lineup of the Soniqs, they're just going to go for a meeting hall drop / push from the back tower stairs. And that's exactly what Rise Nation is expecting. They're anticipating it. And this patience that Avian has been showing, well, you don't want to waste the entire time sitting there. Neptune's getting the very first kill of our second map. It's going to be on to crazy. That's one possible C4 off of the board. Mutes don't always run them nowadays, but it's very likely that on this site you're going to have that, especially with a Maestro in play. Avian will find Hyper, cut him down to size as it's Super taking out the remaining portion of Vandal. Acid trades it off, but Rise in trouble now. It's a 4v2 with the Soniqs looking to walk on in. Goddess will do her best to try and get this diffuser down while Ghost watches. Standing over top, he'll have the rotate from over on Supply Room. But Goddess gets felled just by the edge of a C4, and now Ghost will stare directly at the Evil Eye. They'll have to go for the plant, but this is very, very difficult. England is all by himself. All he needs to do is find one. England grabs one, grabs the second. He needs to shut down the Capitao, looking around the corner to the buck, but it'll be Neptune shutting him down. The Soniqs, they survive quite a scare. They're all very low on HP, but England isn't able to do all of it himself in the final seconds. Very first round will go to the Soniqs. They are 6 rounds away from grabbing the spot in the Pro League.
That is one of the most frustratingly disappointing close clutches I've ever seen. The Buck did not know that the SAS operator had crossed. If he had simply vaulted box, he would have had the angle on the planter on 0-0-0, and it would have been round over. Clutch successful. That was so close. Nice try there. Soniqs take it, though. Neptune's had a really good round there. He's not only protected the plant at the end, but also he managed to get the first kill. He opened things up as the Buck. He was also a flank watch for the majority of that round, so good on him for that. Got 3 kills overall. Rise's defense on construction was, I would say the word tenuous is what I would say, because they had, okay, half reinforced wall here, which I'm sure Acid is going to, no, okay, he's going to half reinforce that again. Half reinforced wall, construction, but also no presence in B itself other than by box. And that's, okay, it's actually pretty common, but it's also very dangerous. It seemed to be a retake strategy for Rise, or a utility-based strategy for the defense of B, but you know they're setting it up again. It's the Evil Eyes, the shield in the hallway, the C4's ready, the gas canisters, the yokai drones, everything stacked up to hold B, because they expect a B take, and they're right in that assumption. But it's also not a good way to hold this site, because the difficulty is you're using off-site utility to deny the push into site, but it's such a shallow push for the attackers as they could kill you before you're able to use that utility. And more importantly, why would you even leave this wall and reinforce? I get you're trying to bait the push into B, but you don't need to bait it that hard.
There was a drone that was set up by Super just on the outside of that wall by the breaching round, or breaching charge, rather, and he looked to be able to use it for as much information as he could, because this is the very similar lineup that we're seeing from the Soniqs. And you also have the Nomad of Super in the same spot and Avian in the same spot as well. So it does appear that the Soniqs are going to go the Team Empire route and just, or even the 92 Dream Team route, if we want to reference something a little bit more recent.
Repeat.
Where it's you repeat.
I mean, okay. Some would say this is an opportunity that Rise Nation are leaving open by defending the site this way. The reason they're doing it this way is because there's no Mira. It's been banned out by Soniqs. So it's hard to play in B because the Mira window doesn't exist there. The only problem is, again, like this off-site presence sort of thing that Rise is doing. It relies on Soniqs not using their utility correctly. And Soniqs are using their utility correctly. Look at this stack from Rise. The reason they're doing this is because they're going to rely on the heartbeat detector, the C4, the gas canisters, the Evil Eyes, the yokai drones. They're relying on that utility to hold on to B. But it's just such a difficult... I mean, that means Soniqs has to mess up.
The bigger problem, too, is that Rise has to peek every single fight. Whereas it's going to be Soniqs holding these angles and knowing exactly where Rise is going to come from. And while, yeah, there is obviously an advantage to you being the one to peek because, you know, the way that ping and latency works, etc. Against a lot of these players, it's not going to make that much of a difference as to which one you are, whether you're peeking or holding that angle, and all the information for Soniqs will be there, and they're likely the ones who are going to be able to benefit from that. So, 45 seconds left in round number 2. Soniqs taking round number 1, and it's an eerily similar play style this time for both teams.
Yep.
Rise Nation very aware that the push is going to be coming from the northern side of the map, which happens to be over by this main stairs, or back stairs rather. Goddess on in. She has no cover at all. She's planting with her back to the bomb, but she's a C4 away from death, relying a lot on Ghost to keep her alive. Looks like she'll be able to get that plant down successfully. Oh! But she gets knocked off at the last second. A good job from Ghost to shoot the projectile out of the air, the throwable out of the air. Goddess is down, but the plant also down successfully for the Soniqs. Everybody from SQ just sitting and waiting right now. Acid will fall to Ghost, and this appears to be a good position for the Soniqs, but Super's been downed upstairs. Ghost is in the powerful position. There's a yokai that's going to move in. It's going to hit Ghost. He's in a lot of trouble. He's going to get blasted yet again. Avian will need to come to his rescue along with Neptune's. Ghost taking Vandal down, looking for another, but no, Hyper cuts him down. Removed from the site. England going for the defuse. Skeleton Key cannot work. Only 3 seconds to go. England going for the defuse. Spraying on in. The M24. England is off. Oh! And the bird takes flight. The Sonics somehow win this. And an absolutely bonkers end to a round for the Sonics, as it comes so close, yet so far.
How? What? Why? I have so many questions. A mess of around. Avian, he clutched it in the end. That's all that matters. But geez, a couple of different things. First, he had an LMG. Could have shot him through the wall. That wall breaks pretty quickly. So even if you don't kill him immediately, you'll get the information. You don't need to risk running in like that. Second thing is, well, he didn't even check the corner where there's likely to be a defender disabling. Why is this offsite play so persistent for Rise on the B defense? How come Sonic struggled in the post plant for so much of that round? Why were the, all the utility that was set up to deny the plant by Rise Nation? How come they waited so long to use it? That's another big question for me. Goddess just chilled in the smoke, breathed in a lot of gas canisters, and then eventually inched over to somewhere where she wasn't being damaged, planted, and not... The C4 came too late. The gas canister also came too late.
I think the gas canister was actually way over.
That too.
It looked like the gas canister was going to sail into Pillbox and past Goddess, which alone, whether it was shot by Ghost or not, which was impressive, even though he didn't aim for it, he just came right at him. But I don't think it would have hit Goddess to begin with.
I don't think it would have either, but that's what I'm saying, is even that aside, it was too late. The yokai drones not present for the plant, the Evil Eyes dispatched with, all of the off-site stuff, utility that Rise set up, really not that useful. That whole strategy on the basement defense there from Rise Nation is a big no. And they know that now. They're going to top floor.
Smart idea.
Yeah.
I would have argued that you probably could have given it a break on the previous round and gone to top floor, but I mean,
hindsight 2020 on that.
We always have the benefit of being able to give hindsight. That's part of the, that's part of the perks of the job.
Right. Well, I mean,
we always seem right, even when we're often not.
We could also say that 4 defenses on cash, maybe a bad idea in that last match.
Well, I mean, it was a bad idea in the micro, but in the macro, I mean, they made it to Pro League.
That's true. They're in Pro League now.
They're now in Pro League.
Congratulations to 92 Dream Team.
So we have once again a tower take. So the Sonics really greatly enjoy taking from this tower and then moving on. This is what a lot of teams have been doing because it gives you easier access to, number one, to Meeting Hall. Number two, it allows you a lot greater access to get to the site below, too. And then you also have the vertical play. You've got the attic, you've got T3. You have many different ways to be able to watch possible rotates and be able to hold back the defenders. So
much control on 3 different floors just immediately. The fact that you isolate your flank as well, very important. Nades being caught there by the ADS, and those should be cleared out here by the lifeline. Yes, indeed, and in fact, it down onto Acid. Doesn't seem like Soniqs is aware they downed the mute, though. They might still get the kill. The nade somehow doesn't... Oh, he drops in the nick of time, and he'll be saved. Acid with a C4 now can maybe fight back, and here it comes. It will miss, though. So, opportunity missed, but Acid still has a weapon and is going to be able to fight back later in the round. So a lot of HP lost, though, on that mute. Unfortunate use of utility from Soniqs not getting the kill.
But they're still in good position here. Now, they are susceptible to a possible run out through Dining Hall down below, providing there's not a Claymore in place there, and that's something that we're going to have to hope that you've been able to put them down. You also have a Nomad in play, I suppose. Not as lethal, but you're definitely going to know if somebody goes to pop out. And of course, don't put it past a team like Rise Nation to be one of those teams that decides to go through the doorway. 20 seconds, though, and here comes your utility through the windows. They'll be answered by a Toxic Canister. Goddess is in, but she gets absolutely crushed by Hyper. Hyper 2! And Acid gets one as well. Vandal on his own, and it's a perfect round. Rise will dominate the kill feed, and they'll manage to win a site that is not Laundry Supply Room. They really needed this round, and they get it. It's a good opportunity for them, but now they have 2 more rounds to go on other sites. This is where it could get difficult.
I mean, a big part of that round was just, yeah, Rise Nation stepping up, having a good one. Their utility use was pretty good there. We also saw, I'd say, a lesser Soniqs in that round, for sure. The way that they took control of tower, pretty efficient, great job. But there's no one contesting them there, so that's not really a big deal. Once they get that control, they did very little with it. They went on to the North Repel into dorms, and that's a very powerful repel. Certainly, but then they just stayed there for the rest of the round. That was it. I mean, there's not really anything else to say. Well, good job to Rise Nation locking it out. And yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right, Parker. Rise needed that round. They really did.
Could you imagine your spirit if you lose dorms as well?
3 in a row.
And then you just look at it, where do we go?
Yeah.
At what point do we just, what do we do at this point, right?
Well, I mean, they didn't, luckily. But now here's the tricky thing. We're playing Oregon. So where do they get to go next? It's basement. I mean,
you have to. I mean, what are you going to stick it with tower or kitchen? I mean, I suppose you could.
They're changing the strategy a little bit. They brought a castle. One of their castle barricades. I don't think this is like this last time. One of the castle barricades going towards Tower Door by Harry Potter. What that's going to do is it's going to cut off the tower players. You have to have tower players in the construction attack. It'll cut off the tower players from the actual construction push. So those in tower will be less able to influence the site push, and it might drive a wedge between the 2 halves of the attacking team. However, there's a Sophia, so that castle barricade could probably also just be destroyed. But then in that case, it's absorbing utility. So there's kind of the point. I'm
just surprised that if you know that the Soniqs are going to be taking the tower again. Which,
yeah.
I mean, mind you, this is the perfect time.
Uh-oh.
The record. Oh, Neptune's just destroys Vandal. That is misfortune.
We were talking about how good Soniqs are at droning. They drone him out. They open the barricade. Instant kill onto Vandal. Sorry, continue your thought.
Does it even matter anymore?
I'm sorry, Parker. Crazy on the roam here.
Point I was trying to make is this is perfect. There you go.
Oh,
what?
No!
Did it miss? It must have missed.
It went over, but he doesn't even know. He's not even looking. Oh, here we go.
Dude's is like, what was that? There you guys hear anything? It's like, let's talk about real. You want to talk about realism in Rainbow Six? He's dead. There's no way he lives.
Where did the C4
He has
go?
no hearing. Like, he has no hearing.
Maybe it fell through the drop.
I have no idea.
I think it fell through the drop.
It might have fallen short and hit the top of the sand.
No.
It's hard to tell from where we were looking.
I think it fell into meeting hall. That's what I think.
Possibly.
Or no, it fell past the drop. I was on the drop.
Hell of a throw.
What was your thought?
I don't even remember. Oh, okay. So here's what I was trying to say.
It hit the drop, yeah.
Is that, yeah, it looks like it hit the drop. Okay. What I was trying to say was that you know they're going to come from the tower on multiple times. You might as well stack bodies up at meeting. Maybe bring a strategy where you hold meeting more aggressively. Harder without a Mira, sure. But, I mean, you can still make it work with a Castle, a Bandit, a Jaeger, etc. But Rise Nation's is not bringing any of those tools. And they're very stuck, I think, in what they're trying to accomplish. And it's very easy for the Soniqs to just work through it right now.
Completely agree. And Soniqs right now with a man advantage still have an abundance of utility to execute onto the site. The one thing they don't have an abundance of is time. We're coming down to the last 30 seconds here, and the utility from Rise Nation is starting to come out. No more yokai drones, but plenty of explosives, gas canisters, etc. We've got the Evil Eyes disabled, so Vandal's not going to be able to help with that. And God, it's a nice shot onto Hyper, but she's trying to plant in the smoke. I'm not really sure what she was thinking there. She'll be dispatched by England, and with only 20 seconds left, the rest of the attackers need to go. But England, excellent frags, denying the plant. finally shut down by Avian with that LMG. The smokes in the hallway as well, very useful from that Capitao, but he'll be shut down in turn by Acid, and missed shots by Super result in a cleanup from Rise. And finally, a successful basement defense from Rise Nation in 2 rounds in a row.
There you have it. So now where do they go?
Well,
Probably Kitchen.
you think Kitchen over Tower?
I think Kitchen over Tower.
I think it's kind of a hit or miss these days, and it's
Let me guess, you think Tower?
Tower. Well, I didn't get to say my guess before they actually locked it in, so it doesn't really count.
You win this one, Stockley.
You don't hear that. You don't hear
that much.
You don't know. I don't hear that much. No.
You win this one, pal.
Michael Stockley.
Michael Kickstar Stockley.
Yep.
So they're going to go over towards Tower. Now, what do teams live and die off of on Tower?
Huh?
Great job. T3. So the ability to control T3, is going to be probably the most important focus for Rise Nation. Now, for those that are unfamiliar, T3 is the 3rd floor of the tower. It's all the way at the top. And it's very difficult once the attackers have wrestled T3 away from the defenders for the defenders to be able to bounce back. It's very, very hard. There is your literal guide. That's T2. And go down to T1. There's T1.
And we go up to T2?
Go up to T2 and then up to T3.
It's T3.
Look at that.
There you go.
Hopefully you've learned something today. But T3, usually you'll see a deployable shield up there. Close range operators. You might put a shotgun up there. You might put Jaeger up there. We've seen Ella's play up there. We've seen ACOGs play up there, even possibly Vigil. And one operator who has always been extremely important has been Capitao. Now, it's interesting because we haven't seen a ton of tower defenses on T3 with the new Capitao, where his asphyxiating bolts don't do as much damage, but they spread more. And one of the things that you've been able to do as a defender up top of T3 is you've been able to evade those asphyxiating bolts because they've never always had the most range. Are we going to be able to see anything involving the Capitao is the real question. Is Acid possibly able to take down Avian? Oh no, there goes the Capitao though. A very important early kill for Rise Nation. They lose England, but they trade it out for probably one of the most powerful operators. So everything I was about to say, ignore it, because you're not going to see it happen.
Sorry, I didn't hear what you were talking about earlier.
It's fine.
What was the question you asked me?
I said, what is one of the most important parts of Tower? It's T3.
T3, yes.
It's T3.
Yeah, okay.
So, anyway, you lose the Capitao of Avian. Not only has Avian been extremely proficient on attack so far in terms of what he's been able to add to the team through utility, but I mean, he's also the Capitao. But now Ghost is just in sight. He's got Crazy right behind him. Ghost might not know this. On the hunt. Crazy hesitates for just a second. This could have been these two adversaries locking horns.
Crazy went the wrong way, but he's also still in a position that the attackers think is clear. So Crazy is still in a play-make position if he finds the opportunity, and he will miss it! Goddess, what a kill! So important that the Jaeger gets shut down there. He could have salvaged the round, but because he didn't, Goddess will plant the diffuser. Vandal takes down Neptunes. Here we go, Rise fighting back, but they're gonna have to fight out a T2. And that's so difficult against 3 players. Vandal now alone. Diffuser planted by Box, just inside a side entrance. Vandal's on full HP. He's got a lot of ammunition in that Elda. This is winnable. Tracers give away the position of one of these attackers, and he's looking for the angle, but bad timing, and Goddess will send him to outer space. He will quite literally rise into the sky. See what I did there?
Hey, Space Station, you hiring?
No, he's part of the Rise Nation.
Oh.
The Rise Nation.
That was... The new ragdolls are great.
Yeah,
they're so funny.
Sometimes they have their moments. That was a good attack there from Soniqs, and they regain their lead. 3-2 now. But you got to say, that's a tower defense. You shouldn't expect to win those, as a defender.
Jeez. All right, so back to dorms, because it unlocks, which was the start of Rise's, hopeful comeback if you're a fan of theirs.
Yeah, I think the top floor is definitely the best site. Well, I mean, I don't think
kids call it the play. Top floor is the play.
It is the play. So top floor is the play here for Rise Nation.
I don't call it that. The kids call it that.
But the complication is that we haven't actually seen Soniqs attack this floor before, because the last time that Soniqs was on this bomb site on the attacking side, they didn't actually do any attacking. They just kind of existed and then died. So once we see Soniqs bring out a strategy here for this, something with, you know, some kind of bites, you know, things might change. I'm saying there's a potential for Soniqs to adapt on this site. I think the potential is pretty strong, because last time they just fell flat on their face. And sometimes, you know what? That's not a bad thing for Soniqs. That's not me ragging on them. Sometimes it just happens. Every team does that every once in a while, and I'm telling you that it's not the end of the world, because I think Soniqs has something to show us here.
What a good game from Avian. What a series from both Avian and Neptunes.
That's true, yeah. Neptune's in the last map, too, especially.
There were a lot of doubters after Avian got removed from Rogue. It wasn't at the conclusion of the Invitational 2018. There were a lot of doubters about what Avian was able to do and where his place would be if he would ever return to Pro League. And it's taken him quite a...
Well, it's not happened yet, and I don't know what that smoke was about.
That appears to have been a misclick.
Maybe he was trying to mask his repel.
I mean,
yeah, that could be it.
They could have thought that there was somebody still playing aggressively up there. He could have masked that repel, or it could have just simply been a misclick.
The pressure from cafeteria door as well. I
mean, it was kind of strange that he deliberately changed the smoke and then did it. So that's a very good assumption.
Yeah, I'm assuming he just wanted to protect the repel from somewhere else. But could have been a misclick for all I know. They're going to be going for Armory now after they get control of Tower. Actually, they got control of Tower. They completely... Did they ditch Tower? No. Okay, they left Super there. Good. The Nomad is still in Tower, so we're good. A little bit more utility used for Tower control than I would have expected, but there's still some left here for Soniqs.
I feel like we sound like a broken record every time we say, "Oh, this is one of the hardest sites to retake once you lose control of it."
That's true. Yeah. I mean, it is the story of this site. We gotta say it for the people who don't know.
I'd say that's more the story of Oregon. Oregon is a very retake. It's very, retake heavy, and if you can retake successfully, then you're probably going to win.
It could be difficult.
Because a lot of teams don't do it.
Well
is a good way of putting it.
It's hard.
So
here we go. 1 minute left.
You've opened up the generator wall, though, okay?
Yeah.
And I mean, everything that you need to do from here on out is just simply cut off control to yellow stair, or to white stairs, rather, where England is playing right now, and possibly watch either Big Window or Kids Dorms. That's really it. And at that point, you have to hope that there's no C4 coming from below. The good news for you is that the only C4 that could be in the hands of anybody on defense is going to be in Acid's hands. He might have the bulletproof camera, but I would be astonished if Rise Nation did not have a single C4 here.
Likely no penetration there. Bad time for Stud to get in the way of the angles here from Soniqs. We're coming down to the last 30 seconds, and there's 10 men alive. But oh no, White Stairs control for Ghost. That's an amazingly important pick onto England. Hyper, though, will fight back onto Super Ghost with a double kill from top of White. Such a powerful position. Downstairs, Neptunes gets a kill, but the diffuser's been planted. Where is the presence from Rise Nation? It's seemingly non-existent in this round, as the last player alive is Vandal. He goes unchecked, though, by West Window, and somehow misses the shots, but will land the headshot onto Ghost with a pistol. He can potentially win this. It's going to be difficult in the post-plant, but he's got the aim to do it, that's for sure. Very little HP, though, on 50, just about. He's got to go against 3 full HP attackers, all playing extremely passively. They don't need to get aggressive. 1 below and 1 to each side. Goddess will be the last one to get a kill in this round, and wow, Soniqs, a very one-sided victory in that round. Almost no presence on the site from Rise. Truly curious.
This is going from bad to worse for Rise right now.
It seemed like they were going to start bouncing back with those 2 wins in a row.
It did kind of feel like there was some momentum building, and then it was immediately shut down by the fact that you have to go to a site that you're going to struggle on, and that's one of the major downsides to Oregon. Is that no matter how good you are on 2 sites, a lot of teams tend to lose on the other 2. Yeah. I was surprised they didn't go to Kitchen, but I mean, I guess defending Kitchen with the changes to the way that Evil Eyes work with both Thatcher and Twitch, and also the lack of Amira since she's banned, I would actually argue that probably defending Tower is easier than defending Kitchen. That would be my just back of the napkin math on that one. But
I mean, for me, it just feels like it's
both of them are arduous to defend.
Yeah, there's no good choice there. It's between the devil you know and the devil you don't sometimes, and that's what I think makes it pure preference. They're both bad.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what I'm curious about? Are they going to reinforce both construction walls, or are they just going to reinforce one? Is this the new trend? 1 construction wall? Because Goddess seemingly only got the 1 just now. I can't quite tell.
This is I hate to say it, but as the kids say again, Michael.
It's the play.
The play.
It's the play. Okay. There's a reason there. I don't know what it is, but I'm sure there's a reason. The one reason I can think of that they reinforce the right panel specifically is they want to incentivize people to open the left panel because the left panel does not have the angle onto that one position that you would typically play a mirror window on. However, the reason that I don't follow that logic in this match is that Mira is banned. So...
If Rise didn't have learned anything from that push from the back of supply room or not.
Yeah,
what you're gonna see here, you know, eerily similar setup from both teams. Though there is a Maverick on the board for Crazy. It's the first time we've seen a Maverick, I believe, in this matchup between these two teams. He was banned for all of Villa, so
it wasn't a play for Soniqs in the last map. Or
Avian is so close to
map.
danger right here, Michael.
Yeah.
He's got a yokai drone at his disposal if he needs it, but he's just going to drop off immediately.
He could have done some. He could have done some damage if he decided to stay there, but he's deciding to lean better towards safe rather than sorry, and I think that's smart, honestly.
You know, they do say better safe than sorry.
Better safe than sorry is right. He's trying to smash the idioms there, but we still have roamers for Soniqs, and it seems by Attic, I think that is Neptune's maybe. Yeah, and he's going to rotate actually over to southwest. Safer play again from Soniqs. They're trying to keep their advantage, and this has actually been working for them, I think, pretty well, but this is the first defense, so whether it's going to work on defense or not, still waiting to see.
This is very similar to what we saw at a Rise Nation on attack on Villa. Very slow, almost plodding attacks.
Why would you open that? I guess he was expecting maybe a late rotation.
They just lost the exothermic charge, though.
Yeah.
Crazy does manage to bait out Neptunes, so Neptunes takes basically the thick exothermic charge and then pays for it with his life, as I don't know how to speak English.
It's okay, but I know what you mean. Neptunes got the exothermic charge.
And then died.
There
you go, thank you. That's why you keep me grounded.
I think that's, I mean, not a good trade, certainly, on this site, the way that it's being attacked by Rise. The hatch is going to get opened up anyway by Maverick, so... Here we go.
It's going to kill a lot of time, though. This is about 10 to 15 seconds, and Crazy does not look very comfortable with the ability to open up the hatch. Certainly not as practiced and as poised as other people, so...
Yeah, he'll get the hang of it, and he's going to get the hatch open eventually.
There you go. A C4 gets tossed out from Avian. Will not hit anything. Vandal's been the only person who's lost any real HP so far on the attacking side of Rise. This is almost certainly a must-win. But there's Avian to take one down. England gets Goddess. Avian takes another one down. He's been so good so far. Yeah, but Ghost at shotgun range just by the door to the small closet. Vandal takes down Super, so you've got the double SAS combo still left. They don't really know that England's going for the defuse. This could potentially be very tough. But here you have it, pushing on in. Ghost pulls out the shotgun. He gets down from behind. England is still essentially alive, calling things out, but Avian takes out Acid. Oh! Do you believe it? I can't believe it at all. Get your kills, get Ghost back up. Soniqs will pull the rabbit out of the hat and also get the diffuser. Oh my word! Another round of absolute madness from Avian.
You know, there are some moments in matches and in team careers where you just say, well, that's it then. And that...
They couldn't shut Neptunes down in Map 1, and they can't seem to shut down Avian in Map 2 so far.
You know, I don't want to say, and that's it then, but I'm looking at that and I'm saying, wow, okay, how do you come back from that? I mean, it's not necessarily about the scoreline. We're at a 5-2. That's recoverable. It's certainly not over. 2 more rounds on the side of Soniqs if they want to win this. They're on defense. They have to go to top floor, and then even after that, they'll have to defend one of the off-sites, tower or kitchen, if they're successful on top floor even. There is so much comeback potential here for Rise Nation, but... wow, did they throw that round. And not only that, but Soniqs also, what a beautiful recovery. You know, it wasn't just a big part of that was honestly Rise Nation and their lack of presence on any of the angles. I mean, what is the Capitão doing? Nobody's protecting the planter. Not one of the 2 remaining attackers alive. The Thermite gets the plant down, but nobody's watching for him. On his close, he dies immediately. That gets traded back, but it's too late now. He's down, and Avian gets the kills that are necessary in the end. That's all that matters. That's all that it comes down to. Avian is on fire. He clutched that round. But again, the question that keeps echoing in my mind is how do you come back from that if you're Rise Nation? Soniqs going to get to go to a comfortable site now, top floor. The one next chance for Rise Nation is likely to be when Soniqs goes to either tower or kitchen. But will that even be enough? I mean, we're at such a round disparity at this point. I don't even know. I didn't think that this is going to be happening like this. I hope Rise brings it to map number 3 just because I want to see more of this match.
I've been astonished watching this, but I don't know if Rise has it in them to make it to a 3rd map right now.
It doesn't seem that.
I don't feel that way at all. It certainly feels like everything is going in favor of the Soniqs right now, and you know, it doesn't matter who it is. It doesn't matter what member of the team. There's been great individual contributions from all sides right now of the Soniqs roster, and it's Avian at the moment, just absolutely running over every single member of Rise Nation.
What you said earlier about the fact that maybe Soniqs is just more awake because they got warmed up in that last match, maybe that's it. But what I do know for a fact is that Soniqs is, as a whole, as a team, a lot more, they're just sharper right now. They're more on point, landing their shots. Everything they're doing is succinct. You know, it's looking pretty, it's well conducted, everything on the side of Soniqs. And Rise Nation seem to be a little bit floaty. Not the typical Rise Nation we're used to seeing, and it's worrisome. This is the worst moment that they could be playing a bad match.
This is the worst that we've seen Rise Nation play since they picked up Acid and Crazy as well. And I think that's pretty important, is that for a lot of these players, I mean, England maybe not, but for the rest of this team here on Rise Nation, I would argue that this is the biggest game that they have ever played in as a team. England has been through this before. England was relegated on CLG, and now he came back. He had this resurgence. A lot of people jokingly referred to it as England's revenge tour.
And it was amazing.
And it was amazing. And it definitely did seem like a revenge tour. And, well, Avian's looked so good. And speaking of England, say goodbye. That's Avian tossing out and taking down the lone Heart Breacher. Neptunes is unable to make it through this opening inside of Master, but it doesn't matter because his Carbine doesn't need to go through it. That's another for the Soniqs, and another for the Soniqs. How many times are we going to say this? As it's now all on Hyper and Acid down below. Well, the castle's in range, and Hyper might be able to get one. We'll start with Super. There's 40 seconds left, and both he and Acid will need to get in closer to the site. A rare miss from Avian. It's Goddess will take Avian down. If you can't kill him, then I will. That's very low HP, though, for Hyper and Acid. But hey, they seem to be firing up the War Machine. Rise right now coming back strong, but they are very, very low. There's still a Toxic Canister left as well. This could be particularly difficult. And Goddess is still at full HP with probably the best weapon left in the game. Down goes Hyper to Goddess as she is unmoved inside of her position, waiting for another, but Ghost has her back. And that's match point for the Soniqs. They are 1 round away from knocking Rise Nation down to Challenger League. And doing something that hasn't been done in North America in quite a while, having both Challenger League teams prevail and elevate themselves up to Pro League.
That's true. It doesn't happen very often, and honestly, going into today, didn't seem likely. I think right now the stars seem to be aligning for Soniqs. I mean, whatever it is that's kicked Soniqs in the pants, they are on fire right now. Very sharp, very on point. Just everything is going right for Soniqs. Rise Nation, on the other hand, as you said, this is the worst Rise Nation we've seen in quite a long time. Worst Rise Nation we've seen probably since the first half of this season. So the word is unfortunate, and I guess the follow-up would be timing. This is really bad timing. You can't have a bad Pro League match, maybe even have a whole bad Pro League season like, well, Rise Nation did, but not your relegation match. Nah, man. Bad timing. This Rise Nation is an amazing team with some incredible talents, and this just shouldn't be happening. They have, over the course of 2 maps, won 6 rounds. 6. And on that note, they've won a single attack round. Now that we're counting 1 attack round. That was in attack onto Trophy and Villa. It was the second to last round in the first half of the first map, and they haven't won any attack rounds here. And that's really tricky when you're on match point and you're attacking.
Absolute opposite of just the previous matchup we watched, right? Where it was It was 92 Dream Team winning almost every single attack and then winning some more on defense as well. And
I mean, that is what we were saying about Rise. Remember, we were talking about how they struggle with their attacks?
Absolutely. And it was, I mean, it wasn't even us who said it. It was them. They said it themselves in an interview, and they
were
understood.
reiterating.
Yes. We were reiterating. They iterated, we reiterated.
Yes.
That's how it works. So, we have 2 minutes and 20 seconds that could separate Susquehanna Soniqs from being in Pro League, a name that, well, a lot of you might look at it and not really know how to pronounce it, but that's okay. If they end up winning this matchup, I'm sure it'll be a very familiar word for many of you that watches Pro League.
It'll be a fun one to learn.
Small tower wall goes in favor of the attackers. And the one thing that the Soniqs have working against them is a site that is, in a lot of people's opinions, far less defendable than everything else here on Oregon.
Yep.
Interesting that we'll go to the kitchen instead of over towards the tower, but that's all right. Neptune's, while that Jaeger doesn't have an ACOG, he's still got quite a long angle, and he can see anybody who crosses through that window over by the bathroom, possibly even move on over to look down Junk Tower if he wants to, but he's not going to put himself in harm's way. There's two bodies stacked up. Oh, he'll take down Hyper. And that's a big opening frag. It'll also be Ghost who will catch the attention and the eyes of the rest of Rise Nation, as Neptune's position has been given away by a drone below him.
Patience here from Soniqs. You saw that Neptune's was aware of the angle and he didn't re-peek it. That's because he knows. He just needs to stay alive. Only 1 minute separates Soniqs from Pro League. And they're just waiting patiently. They have their counterplant utility in the Evil Eyes and the gas canisters. They're going to try and use it to deny this plan.
Goddess is in the midst of smoke. She'll toss out her own, and an air jab will knock somebody over amidst the chaos as everything appears to be happening. There's Neptunes to take out Acid, waiting for another push on in. Carbine aimed up. Super guns down Vandal. Vandal takes down Goddess. Super drops Crazy. It's all up to England. His revenge tour coming to an end at the hands of the Soniqs, and they'll go supersonic. Welcome back. Avian, Ghost, Goddess, you've got Super as well as Neptunes, and they're all coming back to Pro League. Thank you, Rise Nation. Rise and fall. We'll see you down in Challenger League. Welcome to Pro League Soniqs.
And they do it on a kitchen defense, too. Just to rub it in.
Who would have thought out of all the matches that we possibly could have seen today, this would be the 2-0?
Nobody thought that.
I'm sure, Michael, you can't say this, somebody.
Okay.
Here's what's going to happen.
Two people in Wisconsin thought that.
You're gonna say like nobody thought this, and then you're gonna get a tweet.
It was like actually Kickstar.
Actually Kickstar. I said it.
I predicted it.
I had said 2-0.
I voted draw in this best of 3.
That is not possible.
Well, somebody thought that it was going to happen.
Like it's gonna
happen. They're gonna draw.
What a bounce back. This is going to be a big story that people are going to talk about for quite a while within the North American Pro League circuit and within the competitive scene as well for us, is that you have the Soniqs in this heartbreaker of a matchup against 92 Dream Team. And I think the narrative that would have prevailed, if you really taken some time to dive through Reddit, Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, whatever social media you use to communicate with one another. And most people would probably say, okay, Rise Nation has looked like a much better team. We believe this. It's true.
Yes.
The Rise Nation that showed up today looked like a shell of themselves.
Did not look like Rise Nation.
Part of it was how well the Soniqs played. But I would say more of it was how poorly Rise played. Their attacks on Villa were as weak as we had seen when they played against EXG, but then their defense was even weaker because the Soniqs were better. And then on Oregon, we saw Rise, who were supposed to be pretty decent on defense, struggle on Oregon. Same setup from SQ coming in. And Rise Nation just did not know how to work around it at all.
I mean, the thing that really bugs me about the attacks from Rise Nation on Villa is that every single time they were going for an attack on, like, for example, just Games Room, Aviator, didn't have a Thatcher, and they couldn't open the gun vault. They couldn't open the gun vault. But not only that, they didn't do anything else to try and open the gun vault. Like, there was no other... There were just some basic steps being skipped by Rise. And it feels like they felt like they were backed up against a wall. I thought they were going to be going into today with like, oh, we're ready. We're ready to keep our spot in Pro League. We're ready. We're going to get this. That's what I thought was going to happen.
They do that same dance. That's
what I expected from Rise. But no, they definitely looked like they were backed up against a wall and fighting for their lives. And it's just, it wasn't the real Rise.
I expected a lot of confidence coming in. You know, you've watched Soniqs, you have a possibly mentally broken team that just got a defeat handed to them and when a lot of people didn't expect them to. And then you have every opportunity to overcome that. And we said that this looked pretty good for Rise in the map ban phase, and maybe it did. Maybe this was the most efficient path to victory for Rise, but they were just beaten to the punch by the Soniqs. And the Soniqs on Oregon in particular looked so strong.
Yes.
Rise made a litany of mistakes on defense, but the Soniqs were there to capitalize on it every time, and they knew when to change, they knew when to adapt, and they knew when to push at the right time to break the mistakes that were being committed by Rise.
There was a very brief window there where it seemed like Rise was going to start their comeback to really get it going. They had a perfect round, like everything was looking good for just a second for Rise. And then it all just kind of slipped away. It was really disappointing to see on the side of Rise, but you also, again, you have to pay credit to Sonic. They were more on point in that match than they were in the last one. They were just sharp as attack. So serious props to them. Congratulations to them. And
we say this a ton. The points that you leave on the table through the first half of the Pro League season can come back to haunt you. We saw that with teams falling just short of making it to LAN, but no better indicator of that is what happened today. If the same team that played the second half of this season in Rise Nation had showed up in the first half, they would still be in Pro League right now because they wouldn't have had to fight for their spot against the Soniqs. It's a tough lesson to learn at a time like this, but it's something to keep in mind. We have an interview ready for the Soniqs, so we'll bring them up, our newest team to North American Pro League, and we'll welcome the Soniqs to our screen and ask them about what they think of the match and where to go from here. Nice to see you. I like the beard on you. It's a good look.
Sorry to interrupt you. It's my playoff beard. When we were losing in CL, I shaved, and I haven't shaved since, and I guess it worked out.
That's what they do in hockey. As a Canadian, they grow beards during the playoffs. So, first and foremost, congratulations. Welcome back. Your whole team has spent a varying degree of time in Pro League. First thing I want to ask you. You lose to 92 Dream Team. It looked to be probably an exhausting match, at least from our perspective. How do you bounce back over those 15 minutes that separated that matchup from your match against Rise?
Well, I think everybody we didn't play that great against Dream Team. They also play a style that's hard to play against if you're more of a team who runs structurally, because it's so unpredictable with some of the stuff that happens. So, we had some experience scrimming Rise and whatnot, so we kind of went into that match yeah, we knew it was going to be harder, but it was, everybody showed up. I'm really proud of our team for because, E-Gang, when I wasn't on it last season, but went through literally the exact same thing last season. And to have the mental fortitude to me for everybody to just be we're not losing today, this is our moment. I'm really proud of everybody for not giving up.
So what I want to ask you next is probably going to take a while for you to describe if you want. Obviously, don't give anything away. But you come in on Friday, and you have to play Disrupt right away. Then you have to transition to a match against 92 Dream Team. You didn't know necessarily that you're going to be playing them today. It could have been Organized Chaos. And then if you lose, you have to play Rise Nation. That's an awful lot of prep work. With you having the experience you have, what goes into that, and how do you even begin to approach that as a team to try to ensure that you've counter-stratted them the best you can, that you're going to win the map ban phase, so on?
Yeah, that was a big issue for me. So for EU, they have 2 weeks in between the final game and when they play their actual qualifier match. We had Friday, and then we play Monday. So to, make a million counter strats and watch all this VODs and do all that in 2 days, you just don't, we tried to do some of that, but you just don't have a lot of time to do it. And I think what ended up happening was basically without able to prep as much as you maybe want to, playing against a team that's very spontaneous and unpredictable is harder to play against than a team like Rise, where there's structure to it. We can rely on them doing things that we expect and not things that just walking into sight and all those kind of things.
How much of a support infrastructure that the Soniqs have provided helped you in comparison to where you were with E-Gang? Tell us about the org and tell us about the opportunities that you've had that you typically wouldn't have had if you had just been back in E-Gang not working for a team.
Yeah, I mean, as you know, before I joined this team, I was on Rogue, and just comparing, and you know, we both had like the team apartment status and whatnot. But just to me, like, this org is just far and above beyond what Rogue offered or any org I've been on in terms of like player support. Like, if there's anything we ever need, you know, they're able to provide it. None of us have to do anything literally except, you know, focus on the game. And the org's just been really A1. I have no complaints at all about it.
Perfect. Last question for you. What's on the docket for you over the next X period of time until your first Pro League match in Season 10?
Well, we have the minor. I think it's next month. I'm not sure the exact dates, but we will be attending the...
I think it's the 5th, 6th, and the 7th, I think.
Yeah, so we'll probably take a couple of days to kind of just like... Because, you know, we've been grinding so much. We'll probably take a couple of days to just like... I guess get a little warmed up. I don't know. I don't even know what to say. I'm kind of like flustered right now. But no, I'm just really happy, man.
That's perfect. I can tell you have, like I said at the conclusion of our first matchup, there's elation. There's still hard work to do, and if there's a team that knows how much hard work there is, it's going to be 5 people that have competed at this level before. It's good to have you back. Anything to say to conclude the interview to your fans, the viewers, teammates, and so on?
First, I want to say we're friends with a lot of the players on Rise. You know, Ghost and Nep even teamed with those players before under separate names, and I just feel really bad for those guys. I know how much it means to them, and I hope they don't, you know, quit or give up, and just kind of they'll be back next season if they play it out. And to our fans, I'm sorry for giving you guys like a heart attack. You know, maybe especially the OG E-Gang fans who like were with the team last season when they failed to make it. I mean, that's pretty devastating. So, you know, just thanks to everyone for the support. Thanks to everyone for the hate. Kind of motivates us. And be sure to follow Soniqs Esports on Twitter.
Perfect. Mr. 1.6, it's good to have you back. Give congratulations to the rest of your team. And we'll see you in Season 10.
Will do. Thanks, Parker.
Thanks.
So, a very well-deserved victory there for Soniqs, and I think it's just starting to set in. You could tell that he's exhausted after all those matches. So, yeah, but well-deserved. Good for him that it ended in a 2-0. If it went to the third map, it might have been too much.
Imagine the exhaustion of playing that much.
Yeah.
I mean, I have no doubt that they were probably... I do think they were warmed up to a certain extent, though
but
it's a mixture of both, right?
Let's do best of 3.
You're playing like your 4th, 5th map in the span of like a couple hours. Yeah, you're probably going to be in a position where you are comfortable, but you're still going to be battling from behind. You're probably wondering, what does it look like next season? Well, Season 10 of Pro League is not too far away. Here are the 8 teams rather, that will be in Season 10. If only.
Yeah.
It's the 8 teams that will be representing us in Season 10. 92 Dream Team and the Soniqs will be joining. But there's still a lot more to come.
Yeah.
We have Team 1, an org that you might know, and Yeah Gaming, another org that you might know, competing on Wednesday's Latin America show. And then you've also got M&M Gaming going up against Team Vitality. These are other orgs that you might know for Europe. So that's it for Kickstar and me. Thank you very much for joining us. For all of the North American goodness, it'll be Flynn and Milos joining you on Wednesday for Latin America to see exactly what happens. And when we have more new faces joining us here in Pro League, we'll see you then. Enjoy the rest of your night.